Hi, this is Brandon Smiley from thirstgym.com. Today we're talking about an exercise called the incline bench press. This is a great upper body pressing exercise that you can put in your training programs to help put some size and hypertrophy up on your chest and your shoulders. And this is also a good variation for a lot of strongmen, bodybuilders, power lifters. Just a good quality bang for your buck exercise in terms of upper body strength. However, with the incline bench press, there become some pitfalls, some issues we have to worry about and have to think about, especially on the coaching and programming side, but also in terms of the execution as well. The first disclaimer that I will say is if there's somebody that has really bad shoulder mobility and you're looking to get rid of the overhead press, this is probably a good substitute option. However, if you are somebody that has shoulder problems, sometimes this can cause issues in the anterior or front part of your shoulder. So it will be very hit or miss. You will know when doing this exercise whether it's causing you problems or it's helping relieve problems if you can't press overhead. So just keep all that in mind. And a good way to look at it is to see how much shoulder flexion you have. And if you can get your arm pretty close to overhead, you're probably going to be okay. If you're one of those people that gets your arm to like 90 degrees, plus or minus 10 to 20, the incline barbell bench press might be out of your scope, especially if you start looking at internal, external rotation of the shoulder as well. So in layman's terms, if you got shoulder problems, be wary of this exercise. But otherwise, I think it's a great upper body exercise, especially for anybody that does any kind of throwing or pressing. So we're talking about football and shot put, maybe even some MMA, things like that. Great quality exercise. Also good for your power lifters, strongmen, and bodybuilders, and all that kind of stuff. So we need to get a barbell in a rack. We need our bench set at an incline. The incline will be up to you. I think a sweet spot is about 45 degrees. 30 degrees is not a bad one either. And then the 15 degrees is also not a bad one. So I've got mine set to 45 degrees here. I think it's a good option. It's pretty standard and typical of most gyms, commercial gyms. Somewhere you're going to train, you're probably going to get a bench that can go to 45 degrees wherever you happen to be. When you put this in here, you want to make sure that you can unrack and rack the bar safely. Setting up an incline bench the way that I have, with a rig or a rack, is going to require a little bit of fine tuning. If you're using one of the pre-made incline benches, I don't think those are ideal. The preset J hooks really suck and put you into a rut being able to safely rack and unrack. So my suggestion would be to try to do this if at all possible, because you're going to probably get as close as you possibly can, especially if you've got the ability to use a rack that has west side hole spacing to get the barbell right where you want it. We have one of those in the back behind us, but for ease of purposes, we're just doing it in the rig today. But you're being able to move your J hooks and get things more dialed in for you. The other thing is I would recommend that your bench have some kind of adjustable bottom piece down here so that you can set this to where you're kind of like stuck. Once you start getting to where it's flat, sometimes you feel that you might slide off the bench. Very minute safety thing, but my suggestion is to make sure you have a bench that can at least have the seat pad move up and down so that you're secure there as well. Once that happens and it's all just finagling to where you want, which I've already done, so then we're just going to lay back on the bench. We're going to have our feet getting flat. We want to make sure our butt stays down. That's probably the biggest issue we see with the incline bench press, is that when people go to press, they're going to try to make it a flat bench press because they have more leverage, right? So the incline bench press is harder than a flat, and the decline is easier than a flat. So just basic physics says that this should be harder. But once we've got that in store, I move the bar all the way to the edge of the J hooks. I make sure the barbell is lined around with my nose level, give or take. Okay, so I personally prefer to have my eyes a little bit behind it so that I know that I can get my arms out and unracked, but I can also re-rack the barbell. If I'm too far like this, then as you can see, I have a hard time getting the bar unracked unless I move these down. So it's just a good spot to generally try to get it underneath your nose on the incline bench press. Then we're just going to take our standard grip on our regular, like we would a regular bench press. So for me, I know that's just shallow of the power bar lines, but use what's for you. Then once we get everything set, feet set, shoulder set, we're going to squeeze the bar. We're going to take a good big breath, unrack, bring the bar into start position. So as you can see, I have to kind of really protract a little bit to get that off. Then we're going to come down, touch our chest, and back. If you're one of those people that has shoulder problems, you may have to stop right here. That's entirely okay, because as you can see, I'm almost having to force this down. I got to really keep my elbows in. I got to really really try to externally rotate my shoulder. That way my humerus doesn't feel like it's gonna pop out like this. So you really wanna make sure your elbows are not out 90 degrees. You gotta keep those elbows underneath your wrists right there so you have at least some good pressing power. And then back up. So down, back up. I'm also touching above my nipple line. Okay, so touching below my nipple line is obviously not gonna be a good idea. So we're gonna touch higher than we normally would, and then back straight up. It's honestly a pretty easy exercise to perform. There's not really a whole lot of cheating other than making sure that your butt stays down so that you keep the same line of pressing that you have intended by doing the incline bench press. I would definitely recommend you get a spot on this exercise, almost like any other barbell pressing. However, the incline bench press is an interesting sticking point. So the hardest part of the motion is obviously in the bottom, but I've never not seen somebody start to get the bar off their chest. What happens is they begin to run out of a lot of speed and momentum, and the triceps are having to kick in to finish the exercise, which for many people is their lagging area in terms of pressing, okay? It's not necessarily their chest or their shoulders. It's probably more so their triceps, especially for the incline bench press from what I've seen. And so the big issue we're gonna see when they go to come up down here, right there is gonna be about the sticking point. Plus or minus 10 degrees, so right around here, where we don't really get any more chest and shoulders out of the exercise. It's almost all triceps from here. Okay, so if I'm running out of speed, that's where I'm going to start. I can even feel it with this barbell. That's the hardest part for me pushing, even though I can throw this through the roof, right? So we just want to make sure that we got a good spot there, but also that we understand that going in of where our sticking point might be, because something that might feel not too bad when we unrack it could end up stapling us. The other thing with this exercise is to be cautious, like I said, of the shoulder problems that may present with being an incline. Comes to programming, very simple, 3 to 5 sets, probably more of your strength to hypertrophy ranges, so you're probably looking at, you could definitely do max singles if you're a strength athlete. If you're probably a personal training client, a regular average trainee, you're probably looking at sets of 5 to 8. You can use it all the way up to 10s for some more hypertrophy. I think once you start past 10s, you probably need to find a different exercise to start doing reps on, start implementing dumbbells, things like that. Big compound exercise, use it to your advantage, 3, 4, 5 sets of anywhere from probably 3 to 10 reps depending upon your goal. One of my definitely favorite exercises for the upper body, just depends upon your shoulder history and your clients and your athletes and things like that. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave in the comment section. Thanks. Have a great day.